Good evening. It is 6 o'clock. I will call the March 2nd meeting to order. Thank everyone for being with us tonight. And at this time, I will call Reverend Brian Diggs from Rooted Altar Ministries to the podium for our invocation.
Good evening, everyone. Let us pray. Our Father in heaven, it is again that we come to you today, just grateful for this opportunity before your throne of grace. God, we thank you that we've been allowed to see the close of yet another day as the sun is going down. Father, we just thank you for your mercy and your grace. And we pray now that you bless this time of sharing, that you bless this time of discussion, of business. And Father, just let your Holy Spirit just kind of guide us, influence us. Father, invoke the power in your presence. Just be one in the midst with us. Let us have a great meeting this evening. Father, we pray. In Jesus' name, we ask it all. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. Folks, tonight for our pledge, we have a special treat. Our sheriff's office has formed an honor guard to be at special occasions and at funeral services and different things like that. And tonight, they're going to present the colors for our pledge. If you would all please stand with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Forward, march, left, right, left, left, right, left, left, right, left.
You may be seated. I just want to give another thank you to them for being here. I'm just really proud of the work and training that they're doing and the respect that they're showing, and they're just a really good example for our county. So if you see them out and about, tell them thanks. All right. Ethics and conflicts disclosure, Mr. Vogler.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 160A-86 and Davie County Code of Ethics adopted by this board on December the 2nd, 2019, I'd ask each of you before you adopt the agenda if there's any actual, potential, or perceived conflicts of interest with respect to any matter on the proposed agenda which come before the board tonight for a vote. If so, please speak up now and let the board know before the agenda is adopted. Seeing no one speak up, I conclude there's no actual, potential, or perceived conflicts of interest by any board member at this time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Vogler. So with that being said, I will entertain a motion to adopt the agenda unless anyone has any changes.
So moved. Second.
Commissioner Schoaf, Commissioner Reniger, all those in favor? And it is unanimous. Also, before Mr. Barnett proceeds with the presentations, I just want to make note, Commissioner Jones was unable to be with us here tonight, but we will conduct business with the four of us. So, Mr. Barnett.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Tonight we have two presentations, the first being one that's uniquely rare. Typically, by law, we have to, we have to have an audit presentation, but typically it is done in either December or January. This year, due to the federal shutdown that happened this fall, there was a delay in getting some information that the auditors needed to conduct our audit. Once that information was obtained and completed, we moved forward with scheduling the 2025 audit presentation for tonight. So actually, I think Robin's going to introduce Cassie before we get going. And then at the end of the presentation, if you guys have any specific questions about the audit, between the three of us, somebody will be able to answer it.
Yes, so tonight, again, we'll be presenting the fiscal year 2024-2025 audit, and this is Cassie Wilson with Martin Starnes & Associates.
Thank you. I believe I've seen most of you before. Thanks for having me this afternoon. I'll try to be brief and take up as little of your time as possible here. So we issued an unmodified opinion that is the cleanest and highest quality opinion that we can give you on the financial statements. We did complete the single audit testing as required for federal and state. We had 5 programs this year that was covered within that single audit testing. As we have discussed before, the LGC has their data input report, and that has performance indicators within it based on the information for the year. As a part of that, there are calculations within that report that requires finance to come to you and submit a response to the local government commission for anything that was flagged as a performance indicator. The LGC, of course, likes to see certain things, and one of those is that the operating income, the net income, stay positive for the water and sewer fund. In reality, that's not always possible. So Robin will have a response to why that was planned and that was something that the board was quite aware of. The other thing was we had a significant deficiency, and that was just related to the cross-cutting with one of the programs and just the timing of things. So we have discussed that and handled that matter. DSS has responded to that, and that's been handled. And Robin will have the information on that, but that is something we are required to disclose in the meeting. So let's talk about the general fund summary. This information here shows you the revenues and the expenditures for the 2 years in comparison. Again, we audited the 6/30/2025 year end. So this is a summary of those, and you can see that you did have increases in both revenues and expenditures for the year. Now, the general fund balance, you can see you stayed pretty well on target with what that was for the previous year, so you only had the $20,000 increase, and that is just for the general fund. The LGC specifically looks at the available fund balance, and this is that calculation that they require you to disclose in the financial statements as well as a part of that data input report to them. So the total fund balance is shown there. Once you take out the other items that are required, the available fund balance is that $18,491,961. That was a decrease in available fund balance from the prior year, but we've discussed within the revenues and expenditures, and you'll see more information on that as to the cause of that. So the general fund balance, looking a little more at a snapshot here that shows the 23, 24, and 25 years in comparison. The other item that the LGC looks at is that percentage of available fund balance, and they compare that with the net expenditures. They utilize this when they're comparing units to each other. So they got away from doing it by population. They do it by general fund expenditures. So they expect you to be within a certain normal range of units of similar size that the general fund operates from. You can see you had a slight decrease there, going down to 22.3% in that calculation, but that was due to that change in fund balance, which is also affected by the fund balance that's restricted. So as you have an increase in restricted fund balance, of course, you're going to see that decrease there. So your general fund revenues here, this shows the taxes, the intergovernmental, and the charges for services. And this is the 2-year comparison. You can see that the taxes went up and that the intergovernmental, which is mostly your federal and state grants, which fluctuates from year to year based on grants that are closing out, grants that are becoming available, and then your charges for services did have a slight decrease there. The general fund expenditures, you can see your large categories of those is public safety, education, and then general government. as expected, you have public safety being one of your higher areas, and then education, and that's just education. So if there's anything debt service related education, it's not a part of that category there. So you can see your changes from 24 to 25. Any questions on those? Okay. And then we have your enterprise funds with the water and sewer and solid waste. So your operating revenues are listed there. When you come down to it, this is, of course, what the LGC had their performance indicator related to, because your revenues were under the expenditures, and that was just due to your operating revenues and expenses that you had planned for the year. So not as much of a decrease within the solid waste fund. The other items that they look at would be cash flows from operations. You can see that you still had positive cash flow from operations, and the comparison here between what was unrestricted net position and that sums up the information for the June 30th, 2025. I'd like to just take a moment to thank Robin, her staff, DSS, Brian, for all the hard work, all the communication that they had with us. Robin and I spend a lot of emails back and forth and phone calls with each other. I'd just like to say we really appreciate our relationship that we've had with the county. And if you have any questions, once you get the financial statements and you're looking at that beginning section, the management's discussion and analysis, don't hesitate to reach out if there's any questions that I can answer.
Thank you, Cassie. Does anyone have any questions?
Okay, thank you so much.
So our next presentation tonight is from the Davie Respect Initiative. I would say our friends there, but I think by now we're almost partners. So I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Julia to further go into a little more detail, but we're glad to have you guys here tonight.
I love the idea of being partners. That's wonderful, and thank you so much. I think this is our third year. Thank you, Madam Chair, the commissioners, and our county manager for having Davie Respect Initiative speak tonight. I think I've said this, but I'll just give a brief overview of our program. It's a challenge for young people 12 to 21 to come up with an idea that will increase respect in Davie County. And while the ideas are very important, there's a strong emphasis on the actual implementation of the ideas. And just last Thursday, we had a wonderful celebration. We honor 3 awardees every quarter, up to 3 awardees every quarter. And we often do it at the Moxville Town Hall. And Mayor Markland was sharing with us that after 8 years of the Davie Respect Initiative, we're kind of feeling the ripples of respect spreading through the community. And then he said, but we need a challenge for adults 21 and over. So maybe that's next. But without further ado, we've got 3 wonderful projects to share with you tonight, and 3 amazing young people that have had creative ideas, heartfelt ideas, and we'll see our future is in good hands. But I'm going to call Allie up first, and we're going to hear about Allie and her animals. So Allie, I'm going to let you stand here.
Okay.
And Allie, tell us a little bit about your project, and if you'll speak to the microphone.
Okay. So for my project, I chose to organize a donation drive for the Animal Shelter and Humane Society of Davie County. And I collected dog food, cat litter, cleaning supplies, and even toys.
And how did you come up with this idea?
So I love animals. I have a lot of them actually. And I've had 2 dogs that have come from the animal shelter, and I feel like they do great works over there, and I felt like this was a great way to give back to them.
I just asked Allie tonight how many animals she had, and she said, I can't count them all. So first of all, she did this collection. How did you promote it? How did people know to donate?
So I created flyers and distributed them to various places in the community, like vets, Tractor Supply, and even the Davie Rec Center. I also placed a donation box in the rec center for people to just come by and drop off their items. That was easier for them to do that than to come to the actual drive.
So tell us about the day of the drive.
So the day of the drive was very, very rainy and very wet, and very, very cold. But I think it was still a great success, and yeah.
I went to the drive, and it was freezing. And there was 6 little darling young people out with
Yes.
signs and big raincoats, soaking wet. And tell us how much you collected.
So I collected around 3 carloads full of things, and I distributed them between the animal shelter and Humane Society evenly. They were very appreciative and just thought that my idea was great, and that they were so happy that that's what I chose to do.
Thank you so much. And I know all our furry friends
Yes.
appreciated your wonderful gift.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Allie.
Great. And both Allie was in 8th grade when she came up with her project. And Emma Grace, our next presenter, was in 7th when she came up with her idea. Now she's in 8th. So come on up, Emma Grace. So our young people really have some amazing ideas.
Good evening, everyone, and I would just like to thank the commissioners for having us all here tonight. And I would like to thank my Davie Respect family for just being so supportive and teaching me how to serve my community. My project was the Happy Feet Contribution Shoe Drive, and this is my promo video to explain further.
Oh, sorry. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. It's just that my shoes are really slippery, and I really can't play sports in them.
Oh, well, that's where My name is Emma Grace Snow, and for my Davie Respect Initiative project, I'm doing a shoe drive called Happy Feet Contributions. It's where we collect slightly used athletic footwear that still have life and hope left within them, so you don't end up like my friend William sliding around. And if you're wondering on how to donate, you can find a drop-off box at your school. We also take cash and gift cards. Our goal is that no kid misses the opportunity to play a sport because they don't have the ability to get the proper footwear. What if you need a pair of shoes? Find an adult at your school or contact me at this email, happyfeetcontributions@gmail.com. And all emails and or messages are completely confidential. Just to be specific, this isn't just for one school. It's a county-wide drive for everyone.
Man, I hate these shoes. They're not even good. They don't have no grip.
You know what? Here's a brand new pair of basketball shoes straight from Happy Feet Contributions.
Thank you so much. Windmill.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
And Emma Grace collected almost 200 pairs of shoes, and she had them beautifully displayed at the Davie Park and Rec Center, and they kept announcing it. There was football games going on, and they kept announcing it over the loudspeaker, and young people would come in and buy cleats. Their cleats were falling off, and Emma Grace had some shoes for them. And she doesn't have very many shoes left, but it was an amazing, amazing drive. So our next ambassador we've heard from before. He had a wonderful project, signing day project. But this project just brought tears to our eyes, and it's what Christmas and Davie, the spirit of Davie County is all about. This is Jackson Barrett.
Good evening. Excuse me. Good evening, everybody. My name is Jackson Barrett. I'm a senior at Davie High School. And Christmas time, if you didn't know, is a particularly hard time for people within our county, especially teenagers. A lot of these teenagers go overlooked with programs such as the Angel Tree and other programs because we focus on the elementary and middle schoolers who are younger within our community. But these kids still need Christmas. So I came with Davie Respect with the idea of creating a grant that we would be able to give for individuals within our schools Christmas. It would be $250 per person. Well, thankfully, by the grace of God, this year we were actually able to cover everyone. An organization was able to pick up everyone at our school except for one individual. This individual was brought to my attention by the counselors. This individual was a special needs, special education student. His family did not have the funds necessary to provide him with basic food and clothes. I would later come to know this family well, I would say. They had been out of work for almost a year now. Her stepson had been taking extra shifts at the local auto parts store just to help with the family along, but this family did not have a stove. So thanks to the Davie Respect Initiative and some generous donations, we were able to get this family not only a stove, but basic necessities and other things that they needed to not only make it through this Christmas season, but also to make it through the rest of this year. So I'm very happy that we were able to do that, and we were able to provide for this family.
Thank you so much, Jackson.
And again, thank you to the commissioners and county manager and to our wonderful ambassadors for inspiring all of us. So, thank you.
Julia, I know sometimes you want to get a photo. Do you want to get
Yeah,
a
if that's
We'll
okay.
come down and take some pictures right quick. You all will hang on just a second before you go. The commissioners may want us to have some comments for you all before you go. So if you'll have a seat, and then we'll keep you for just a second. So, commissioners, if you all want to have some comments for these young people before they go, I know sometimes they have to sneak out, so we'll do that now.
I'd just like to say thank you to all of you for all that you do, and I know you're an inspiration for others in the county. Thank you.
Yeah, those are 3 inspiring projects, and appreciate the contribution to the county. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, I can't say enough. That Allie, you're a person after my heart. Anybody that gets to know me knows I love me some dogs and animals. So kudos. Emma Grace, have to give a little bit of a shout out because this is one of my daughter's students from South Davie. Now my daughter's taking a year off to get her certification, but it makes her proud, makes me proud. Dating myself, I coached basketball for 1 year at Davie High School, and Emma Grace's mom played basketball then. And that was not my first gig. That was like my 11th year of education or something. So, but I love that. And Jackson, great. That's a touching thing you did because I've been blessed to be involved in some Christmas-related support in the mountains, and that's a good thing. So thank you. Appreciate it. maybe we need y'all to do some respect initiatives, like we said, for the 21 through 99 group. Thanks.
As everyone said, thank you all three for not only being here, but especially for what you have done and for the attention that you have brought to the needs that you recognized. And I hope that somebody will continue the thoughts that you all have started. I know, Jackson, I really appreciate your initiative. We often, in the busyness of life, and we're so blessed in this county that sometimes we overlook those that are struggling. So I really appreciate you noticing that and making sure that that was taken care of. And I know that your families are proud of all of you. The DRI staff and family are proud of all of you, and so are we. And thank you for sharing all your ideas with us tonight. All right, with that, we'll move on to the public comment period. Mr. Vogler?
Yes, Madam Chair, we've got four individuals who signed up tonight. And I think everyone that's signed up has either spoken before or has been here many, many times and heard me go over all the rules for the public comment period. So I'm gonna forego reading those rules and go right into this. We had Michael Allen, but he had to leave, and Cameron Webb's gonna speak on his behalf. And he's going to speak about fire services.
Good evening, Commissioners, Madam Chair. Sorry for the inconvenience. Michael just asked me to apologize to you all. He had to step out, had an emergency. So what it looked like he wanted to talk about tonight looks like he wants to start maybe just giving you guys a rough overview of each fire department as the association sees fit, and then he's got some notes here for me just to read off, okay? So it says, tonight I'll be speaking on behalf of the Davie County Fire and Rescue Association, give you some insight on what's happening within the organization. As most of you know, Brian Spock stepped down after 7 or 8 years, and Michael Allen has been elected the president of that association. This organization has been providing fire service to the county since the first fire department in 1877, which was Moxville Fire Department, which is still going strong today. We're all still mainly volunteer with part-time and some full-time employment within 12 fire departments and 1 rescue squad. We could not sustain the department's ratings and protection to our citizens if it was not for the dedicated men and women in each department throughout the county, along with the backing of funding from you all, fundraisers, and from within each fire department here in the county. With that being said, Jerusalem Fire Department is going to be acknowledged tonight for a couple of esteemed awards that a couple of you guys are aware of, but just wanted to put it out there this evening. So for years of service, starting with Lieutenant Austin Teese, he's got 13 years of service. Ashley McDaniel, 14 years of service. Walt Farrell, 17 years of service. Captain Braxton McDaniel, 20 years of service. Brent Krotz, 25 years of service. And everyone after this has got at least 30 plus years of service. So Safety Officer Alton Malden, 30 years of service. Terry Carell, 38 years of service. Assistant Chief Barry Carell, 40 years of service. President Clay West, 42 years of service. Joe Beck, 50 years of service. And then a couple of notable things when we were attending their banquet this past year. Lifetime Achievement Award from the Office of State Fire Marshal, Bill West, 51 years of service. Ed Williams, 61 years of service. And then to top it all off, Chief Wayne Williams, 61 years of service. Wayne, also on top of getting the Lifetime Achievement Award from OSFM, also was able to get, with the help of Madam Chair Benita Feeney, Order of the Longleaf Pine, which was presented to him that evening at his banquet. So that's all the information I had to report from the association, and I'll take any questions if anybody's got any.
Cameron, thank you for sharing that on Michael's behalf.
Sure. Yes, ma'am.
And thank you also for your assistance in getting Wayne that award and recognizing him for 61 years of volunteer fire service. And that department has a lot of years in it, as so do many of our others. But thank
Yes,
you so
ma'am.
much.
Long time. Thank you.
And Madam Chair, I said we had 4 to speak. We've actually got 3 to speak because a wife is making sure that her husband's got his name down, and then he put his name down also. So we've got Jennifer Boger next. Well, I have Kevin twice, so if you want Kevin to go first.
Okay.
Looks like the handwriting looks like you put him down first. Okay.
We didn't collaborate on that, so we probably should have. Good evening, Board of Commissioners. Thank you again for giving us the opportunity to speak. My name is Kevin Boger, and it's a hard act to follow when you got these young people doing the work that they are in our county, and we sure do appreciate it. And we hope that they continue and that it grows, and respect is a good thing, and respect is earned. But it is a good thing, and we hope they continue with that. I'm thankful to be in a county that starts their meeting with prayer and looking to God for answers, and also a county that pledges to this great country that we live in. So that being said, I don't want to bring the meeting down, but just had a couple things. This is my 3 minutes of encouragement to our board. I know we had some things that were talked about last month, and as far as growth goes, and just wanted to continue to encourage you to do all that you can. We realize it's a tough uphill battle, and it's things that this board was handed from past boards and past decisions and decisions that really weren't made. And I also realize, there's talks behind the scenes with our situation at Myers Landing. And we may talk about that more next time, because I realize things like that are not on the agenda tonight. However, just wanted to continue to be a face for what I hope is a majority of this county. I wish I could fill this room up with the folks that I know, and 46 years living in this county, I do know a lot of people that feel the way that I feel. So it's just an encouragement to you guys to continue to try to do the things. It's going to have to be drastic, I feel like, but we can get there. And I had some things I wanted to say about our developer, and again, I'm going to save that for later. But my last comment I wanted to make, and I just feel like it's a snapshot, because I drive by it almost daily. A snapshot of what our county's up against and what we're seeing. Just a couple blocks over here at Sanford Avenue and Valley Road, you had a piece of property that had one dwelling on it that was just big enough for one dwelling. Now, I know that's not you guys. I know that's the town. I completely understand that. But now you got 3 that's popped up. I'm hoping with y'all's leadership and maybe you guys setting the tone that the other municipalities, including this town, the town of Moxville, will follow suit. And so that's what we're asking. Set the tone and be the leaders that we've asked you to be. Good luck on the 2 seats for the election tomorrow, and we're praying that God puts the right people where they need to be. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you, Kevin.
And then the last one that signed up is Jennifer Boger. Actually, the next to the last one that signed up.
Good afternoon, I'm Jennifer Boger. And again, I'm here. I feel like I'm just beating a dead horse. I almost didn't come because I was like, I know y'all are tired of seeing our face and tired of hearing what we have to say, but I just want to fight for Davie County, and I want y'all to fight for Davie County. Unfortunately, the developer we're dealing with, I have found out that has done some really crooked stuff. There's rumor that there's people involved in the county that are in cahoots with him, and they're pushing him through, and that's a discouragement to citizens of Davie County. we want y'all to stand up for us, and I'm not saying it's you, I'm just saying that we need you to stand up for the people. I feel like the people have made their voice heard. We're tired of development, we're tired of houses. We just cannot keep going on. And the more people you bring in and the more infrastructure that it causes, the more things you have to do, our taxes are gonna continue to go up. And I just want y'all to just listen to the people. I feel like you are. I know you've heard us for multiple months, and I just don't want to back down. I want to keep fighting. I have reached out to EPA. I have a water lawyer that's supposed to be getting back with me as far as what we can do. I know he has rights, 'cause landowners have rights, but I'm learning that we don't have a lot of rights when we have side effects as far as runoff, our well. And so the EPA lawyer is supposed to get back in touch with me. I did not hear from him today, just to kind of know what the people that have joined this development, what we can do to help ourselves. And I hope if we do come across problems, that y'all will stand up and help us too. Because, you know, like I said last time, DEQ, all those, they're not gonna help us. Pretty much I was told, get a lawyer and have fun. And unfortunately, we're a middle-class family, and I can't fight a deep-pocket developer. We can only do so much. And so I just want y'all to keep fighting for the people of Davie County. I want to keep my voice being heard, because I do love this county. I respect you all for your position and what you do, and we just want you to do everything that you can. I do like what was passed last meeting as far as things coming through you guys. But I also agree with that one man that spoke, you know, you've got to stand up and just say no. You know, just say no and tell them we can't do everything they're asking us to do. I did get word today that one of my neighbors is putting a for sale sign in their yard and moving because their wife has a problem and they can't handle the developing, the construction and all that. So it's sad that people are having to sell their homes and move because somebody outside of Davie County is coming in to develop in a county that they don't live here and they don't really care. They don't have the heart that we do. And so that kind of broke my heart. But anyway, thank you for your time, and we're just asking y'all just to fight for the citizens of the county.
Thank you, Jennifer.
And that's the last individual signed up for public comment.
Thank you, Mr. Vogler. At this time, we do have a public hearing, and this says Brian, but we're giving that back to you, right, Ed? Whichever one of you want to introduce that.
Sure, we'll get to the rules when we, after we have a chance to go through, but tonight, we have a unique opportunity here with the Advanced Fire Department. I know Chief Miller is here, and I think Willings is also here to speak, to speak on the proposed public hearing tonight for the installment financing for the fire department. So I'm going to turn it over to them to kind of walk us through this process, since it's a little unique when it comes to our volunteer fire departments and installment financing. So,
thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm Will Dwiggins. I'm Senior Vice President with Pinnacle Financial Partners, and we've proposed to do a $975,000 loan to Advanced Fire Department for the purchase of a new 2025 Pearson Forcer pumper. We have offered a tax-exempt interest rate of 4.90% fixed for 10 years. This tax-exempt structure lowers our lending cost and allows us to pass those savings along to the fire department directly. In order to qualify for this tax-exempt rate, Section 150 of the Internal Revenue Code requires that a political subdivision, in this case Davie County, hold a public hearing and formally approve the financing. It's important to emphasize, I think this is what everyone here wants to hear, the financing does not constitute a debt of Davie County, nor does it pledge the faith and credit of the county. This requested resolution simply authorizes Pinnacle Bank to treat the interest income that we earn on the loan as tax exempt under federal law, and by doing so, reducing our borrowing costs and passing those savings directly on to Advanced Fire Department through a lower interest rate. So we respectfully request your approval of the resolution so that Advanced Fire Department can secure favorable financing for this essential public safety equipment. Thank you.
And Will, I think after speaking with the attorney for the bank and all, that the resolution has to be read. Are you going to read that resolution for us?
Let's see if I think I have that here.
You don't, I do.
All right. The whole thing?
Said everything.
All right, well, I'm not a lawyer here, so, all right, bear with me because I also have a cold. The chairman of the Board of Commissioners, the board, for the county of Davie, the county, stated that the board has been requested by the Advanced Fire Department, Inc., AFD, to hold a public hearing as required by sections 150E3 and 147F of the Internal Revenue Code of 1986, as amended, the code, regarding an installment financing and security agreement between Pinnacle Bank, a Tennessee bank, the bank, and AFD, the loan. The proceeds of the loan will be used by AFD to pay A, the cost of acquiring a 2025 Pierce Enforcer pumper truck, VIN number listed here. Is that sufficient?
Yeah.
Okay. And all related attachments, collectively the fire truck, including without limitation the repayment of any outstanding taxable bridge loan made by the bank to AFD to acquire the fire truck, and B, certain costs and expenses associated with closing the loan. The chairman then stated that a notice of public hearing was published in the Davie County Enterprise on February 19th, 2026, in accordance with the sections of the code referenced above. Who declared the meeting open?
It will be Benita Finney.
Okay. Benita Finley declared the public hearing open on the proposed issuance of the loan and financing of the truck. Excuse me. At approximately 6:41 p.m., the chairman announced that the board would hear anyone who wished to be heard on the advisability of the fire truck and the proposed loan, and the representative of the AFD was available and prepared to discuss the details concerning both. After the board had heard all persons who requested to be heard, the chairman declared the public hearing closed. Then chairperson then introduced the following resolution, the title of which was read and copies of which have been previously distributed to each commissioner. Resolution authorizing and approving the delivery of a tax-exempt installment financing and security agreement between the Advanced Fire Department, Inc. and Pinnacle Bank, a Tennessee bank, and matters related thereto. Whereas the Advanced Fire Department, Inc. and the Davie County, North Carolina, have heretofore entered into an agreement whereby the AFD has agreed to provide the county fire protection services for certain portions of the county, and whereas AFD wishes to pay A, the cost of acquiring a 2025 Pierce Enforcer pumper truck and all related attachments, including without limitation the repayment of any outstanding taxable bridge loan made by bank to AFD to acquire the fire truck, and B, certain costs and expenses associated with the closing of the loan, hereinafter defined, and whereas AFD and the bank intend to enter into an installment financing and security agreement whereby the bank will advance to AFD funds for the fire truck and related costs, and whereas the interest component of the repayment obligations under the loan are intended to be excludable from gross income of the recipients thereof, and whereas pursuant to the Internal Revenue Code of 1986 as amended, the issuance of the bonds must be approved after a public hearing required by Section 150E3 and 147F of the Code by the governmental unit having jurisdiction over the area in which the fire truck is located, and whereas the agreement does not constitute a debt of the state of North Carolina or any political subdivision or any agency thereof, including the county, or a pledge of the faith and credit of the state of North Carolina or any political subdivision or any such agency, including the county, but are payable solely from the revenues and other funds provided by AFD pursuant to the terms of the loan. And whereas, because no revenues or taxes of the county are legally pledged to the repayment obligation under the loan, the staff of the county has made no financial analysis of the loan or the fire truck. And whereas the Board of Commissioners of the county, pursuant to public notice duly given, has held a public hearing on the advisability of making the loan to finance the fire truck and has considered the comments of all persons who requested to be heard. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the board as follows. 1, the board has held the public hearing and taken the actions set forth herein under this in order to satisfy Section 150E3 and 147F of the Code. 2, the execution of the loan in an aggregate principal amount not exceeding $975,000 to finance the fire truck and related costs is hereby approved. 3, the clerk of the board is hereby authorized and directed to provide a certified copy of this resolution to AFD and the bank. 4, the agreement does not constitute a debt of the state of North Carolina or any political subdivision or any agency thereof, including the county, or a pledge of the faith and credit of the state of North Carolina or any political subdivision or any such agency, including the county. 5, this resolution shall take effect upon its adopted this second day of March 2026.
And aren't you glad?
Somebody just passed out.
Did I do that?
Ronnie.
Okay.
I think he just passed out from standing there too long. That's what I'm guessing.
I think I put Ronnie to sleep there. Sorry, Ronnie.
And aren't you glad there, Will, that the IRS has not also required, pursuant to their code, that you have to read the installment financial and security agreement too?
Yeah.
That multiple-page document.
Thank you for that. Yep, so that's the resolution. To summarize again, this is just a formality that allows Pinnacle to claim this as tax exempt so that we can then pass those savings along, because otherwise we would have to pay income tax on the interest that we earn.
The chairman has announced this is day and the hour of the public hearing pursuant to Section 150E and Section 147 of the Internal Revenue Code of 1986 as amended with respect to a proposed installment financing and security agreement between Advance Fire Department and Pinnacle Bank. There's been due notice given pursuant to the requirements of North Carolina General Statutes by way of due publication of notice of the public hearing in the newspaper with general circulations in Davie County. The clerk of the board has attached a copy of that affidavit showing the publication in the paper, and it is part of your actual agenda. I would ask all who wish to comment at this public hearing to come forward to the podium, state your name for the board, and then comment on the proposal. Madam Chair, seeing no one come, I would now turn this public comment section back over to you as board chair to close the public comment section of this public hearing, provide the board the opportunity to discuss among yourselves what, if any, action you wish to take with regards to this matter.
Okay. I would entertain a motion to close public comment.
So moved.
Brent, second by Richard. All those in favor? Okay, that passes unanimously. Does anyone have any comments or questions, discussion?
Seems pretty straightforward, Madam Chair. I vote to approve.
Motion by Commissioner.
So you would vote to approve the resolution as read by Will Dwiggins pursuant to the Internal Revenue Code.
Yeah, and do not want him to read it again, yes.
That hurts.
Oh, well, no, that was
A second.
Motion by Commissioner Rediger, second by Commissioner Poindexter. All those in favor? And so the resolution passes unanimously. Thank you all. All right, at this time, we will move to the county manager's report and consent agenda summary. Mr. Barnett.
Thank you again, Madam Chair. You have in front of you tonight a copy of the March report of the county manager's report for you to read at your leisure. A couple things on the consent agenda tonight. As with most of our board meetings, we do have 4 budget amendments. We have one for a 4-H grant for us to accept the funding of that grant. We also have a budget amendment to accept an insurance settlement for a sheriff's office vehicle and some building damage. We also will be increasing the Advance Fire Department revenue. This is a step that we take whenever we collect revenue for the fire districts. If it exceeds the budget amount, we have to accept it as a budget amendment in order to collect it. And then finally, we have a budget amendment tonight. You may recall during the COVID push of funding down from the federal government, there was a big push to extend broadband service, especially as schools were having to go online. We partnered with Xeris, and as part of that partnership, we did commit funding, and they have completed their project. They have added 16 miles of construction. primarily north of I-40 along Highway 601. They added additional broadband capabilities to about 190 structures, of which 130 ended up subscribing with Zurich. So this is just them calling in our portion of that grant from back in fiscal year 2022. That is the main thing on consent agenda. On top of, just for point of clarification, a couple months ago we did a public hearing to close the Point Road in the southern part of the county. According to our friends at NCDOT, we took a couple steps out of turn, so this is just a preliminary step, and then our next meeting we'll have to do a public hearing again. I promise you we will not read the resolution for that road closure. We should be able to do that for the formality and meet DOT's requirements to officially close that road. And I believe, Madam Chair, you wanted to read the proclamation for Social Worker Month, so I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Barnett. I know we've done a lot of legalism tonight, but I just want to share this brief proclamation for Social Worker Month because our social workers do not get enough attention because there's so many things they do that we really can't talk about. So I just want to make sure and recognize them on their month of recognition. So, whereas social workers positively impact the lives of millions of Americans daily in hospitals, schools, child welfare agencies, community centers, and within federal, state, and local governments, including here in Davie County. And whereas for more than a century, social workers have worked to improve human well-being, advocate for social injustice, and support the basic needs of individuals, families, and communities. And whereas social workers choose this profession out of a deep commitment to uplift, defend, and transform the lives of people and strengthen the communities they serve. And whereas the 2026 theme, Social Workers Uplift, Defend, Transform, highlights the dedication and resilience of social workers who bring hope, healing, and justice to the communities they serve, especially during times of change and challenge. And whereas social workers adhere to a professional code of ethics that promotes equity, human dignity, and the pursuit of social justice in every community. And whereas social workers serve on the front lines in Davie County and across the nation supporting vulnerable populations including children, families, older adults, individuals with disabilities, and those experiencing poverty or discrimination. And whereas social workers assist individuals navigating trauma, grief, mental health challenges, substance use recovery, public health crisis, natural disasters, and other life hardships while empowering positive change. And whereas social workers advocate for human rights, confront systemic inequities, and work to remove barriers that prevent individuals and families from achieving stability and success. And whereas the social work profession continues to grow with more than 810,000 social workers nationwide who contribute to building stronger, healthier, and more compassionate communities through leadership, education, advocacy, and direct service. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Davie County Board of Commissioners hereby proclaims the month of March 2026 as National Social Work Month in Davie County and encourages all residents to join the National Association of Social Workers and local organizations in recognizing, celebrating, and supporting the vital work of social workers who uplift, defend, and positively transform our community each and every day. Adopted this second day of March, 2026. Thank you to all of our social workers in the county.
Madam Chair, I would just, if I could, comment on that. I can't say I support this in the strongest of terms, but our social workers here in Davie County, they go above and beyond. I'm sure all social workers do, but it's a labor of love. The public has no idea the situations they're constantly put in and the some of the acts of compassion that they are asked to perform. And we are very fortunate to have these folks. And so if you see one, tell them thank you, please. Thank you.
Indeed. And I'll piggyback on that a little bit. I'll tell you, I was in a meeting with some social workers and some other partners in the county, and over the last few years especially, they have gained such a wonderful communication partnership with all of our providers, EMS and schools and everything, even stronger than ever. And I'm just very thankful for them for working so hard for doing that. And law enforcement, they just all work. They're a great team, and we're very blessed.
Madam Chair, I did forget one thing as part of my report, if you would give me a second.
Sure.
Just want to remind everybody, tomorrow is our primary elections. One of our main functions as counties is to carry out election services. I want to thank Melissa Parker and her staff for making sure that we have good, safe elections. I want to thank all our volunteers who will be working the polls tomorrow. I want to thank Brad Blackwater and his folks at General Services for getting all the equipment up and around the county today so that we can be ready to rock and roll as we take part in one of our more important functions as citizens here in this country. So if you haven't already, we always recommend and encourage our folks to early vote, but if you haven't, tomorrow is your last chance to participate in the voting process with our primary tomorrow.
Thank you very much. And with that, I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Commissioner Schoaf, have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Poindexter, any discussion?
I do have one point I would like to make. I know we'll get some calls on this about closing the Point Road. It's only a small portion of the road. It's not the whole road. So just that maybe help clarify for some of the people out there that are listening.
That's right. Thank you. Anyone else? All right, all those in favor? And that's unanimous. Thank you so much. Does anyone have any old business they would like to present tonight? Any new business? All right, we'll move on to commissioner comments. Commissioner Poindexter, if you'd like to go first.
Just like to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I know some of the folks already, most of the folks already left that don't work for the county. But thank you guys for coming out and presenting the flags. And thank you, Brian, for leading us in our invocation. It's wonderful to see you again. I know I don't get to see you that often since you're retired. Thank all of you.
Commissioner Reniger.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate everyone coming out. As it's already been stated, tomorrow is Election Day, so please exercise your right and vote if you haven't. That right has been paid for in blood, so please vote. I think we should pray for our country. We are at war in the Middle East, and let's hope for a swift resolution there. And that's tough decisions to be made there, so we should be in prayer. With that, see you next month, I hope.
Thank you. Vice Chairman Schoaf.
I debated on what to talk about tonight, but I think I'm going to start using my comments as education points because I'm a big believer in education. What I wanted to talk about a little bit was the balance of trying to honor individual property rights while trying to come up with development protocols, etc. It can be real difficult when you look at development, you look at property rights, but there's one thing that's for certain: residential development does not pay for itself. And so if you kind of look at basic fifth grade civics, if you want to call it that back in the day, the municipalities are the areas that's the most appropriate for development to be. And then the rural areas are the ones where we've got to be vigilant. Because if the appropriate growth happens in a municipality and we don't have any say about it, and that's kind of as we work together, we've got to be more vigilant about the policies and procedures that we set for development within the county. But we got to come up with reasonable policies that don't just trample on the rights of people or move the cheese, but we still need to work towards that. Because at the end of the day, I've not seen any metric that shows that residential growth pays for itself, which then comes back and creates higher taxes on those that have lived here, and there's really no way around it. But and one of the big things I think that gets left out when we make our decisions is quality of life is kind of a abstract. Safety is not so much, but it's something that we need to take into consideration every time that we talk about this. I kind of thought about this as Miss Boger talked. What do we need to do to stand up? I would like to educate you on one thing that we've learned more and more about recently. There was legislation passed sometime late in 2024 that kind of made it harder for us to go back and change ordinances. And I'm not telling you that as an excuse. I'm telling you that there's other individuals and entities that probably need your input on how we try to handle this. That's my point of educating you on that. I'm not throwing anybody under the bus. I'm just saying the discussion is not only here, it's above us. And I typically do not respond to anything on social media because, first of all, I don't read it. But unfortunately, some of my friends find it in their infinite wisdom to forward me screenshots, I guess just to torment me. But I will address one in particular because I found it kind of humorous. Supposedly the planes, I guess, that were flying over, were they doing aerial photography or what? Or there were some kind of black planes, not little black helicopters. I don't know. But anyway, somebody responded that it was another higher level elected official and myself searching for property to develop so I could raise people's taxes. Kind of laughed at that one, forwarded it to a few friends, a few people in here, but couldn't quite figure that one out because I've made mistakes as a board member, but I can't quite figure that one out because anybody that knows me knows that if I could do it, and I hate to be that way, but in my heart, part of me is practical, doesn't want to get the county sued. The other part of me is a little bit like John Dutton, if you've ever watched Yellowstone. But I would say this to anybody that thinks we've got a new road being built, Baltimore Road. And if anybody thinks I'm happy with development, please drive by 4601 U.S. Highway 158. Now, I know there's people that are cutting flips, and I've got friends forever that are saying, man, I'll be glad when that interchange is done. Man, I'll be glad with this. But it's wrecked a pretty good piece of property. One that I took Brian on a nice walk one day with the dogs. And I know that's the parts of progress that we live in. And I realize that that is necessary for traffic, safety, etc. But a lot of the people just want to blame that road on Ashley Furniture. And quite frankly, we probably wouldn't have it if it was not for Ashley. But Ashley's not to blame here because the trucks wouldn't be having as hard a time to negotiate traffic if we didn't have all the development that happened before then. So I see quality of life right now in my front yard. I see quality of life where they cut out a 100-year-old oak tree in my front yard. I have to look at a development now across the way. Yes, I know that's their property rights, but I'm not real thrilled with what I'm seeing there, and I'm not real happy with all the damage they've done to our agrarian cartway going back to David Robertson's pasture, and it connects me to mine so I can go back and maybe hopefully start making some hay at some time. But I'm just saying that, when we look at these things, yes, we got to balance property rights. Problem I have with some of the property rights is not if you were going out to develop your 50 acres, it's that it's 5 transactions down the road and then there's a pivot man looking to make profit on it. I'm not sure that's what we're really talking about when we talk about property rights. To me, that sounds kind of like a interpretation by somebody in a judicial system or somebody. You got a practical side and you got the real side of it. So I just want to make that real clear. The things move on is that we're all seeing different things that are making our quality of living and what we like. And I'm not sure exactly. I hope to God they get that track that's on my front yard that right now is full of mud water. It's okay now with these temperatures, but it's not going to be too fun if it's like that in August. So that's all I'm going to say. It's like Forrest Gump said. That's all I'm going to say about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I just want to thank all of you for being here. Pastor Brian, thank you so much for sharing the invocation and our honor guard. I'm just so proud of y'all. I just wanted to take the opportunity to show y'all off a little bit, and I think I jumped ahead of you a little bit. I'm sorry on the pledge. I was trying to watch for my cue. So, Kevin and Jennifer, as always, thank you for being here and sharing your heart and your passion and for the encouragement. Kevin, we appreciate that. And I thank Julia for bringing the DRI kids. It's really amazing some of the ideas that those young people come up with. And Robert, our new editor from the paper, thank you for being here with us tonight. And we had some great presentations in February. Those of you that were able to go to Senior Services for the Black History Month presentation, it was very well put together. And Marcia Phillips did a couple presentations at the library for Named and Known, which is a slave project that she has been working on. She's actually matching last names with some Davie County slaves, and it's pretty amazing to hear her give that presentation. So if you get that opportunity, or if you just drop by the history room, she'll be glad to show it to you because she's very passionate about that, and she's done a lot of work. So we are very much appreciative of that. Again, pray for our country and for all the other countries involved in the war. And go vote tomorrow. If you're going to fuss, please go vote. Or if you're going to praise, please go vote. Either way, we have critical decisions that'll be made in our county tomorrow. So thank you all for being here. And be sure and tell Mr. Barnett happy birthday. Tomorrow's his birthday. So at this time, we are going into closed session.
Is this a milestone one or not?
The 164.
Is that in biblical years?
Okay, we are going to go into closed session, so I need to read this, and I don't think I'm supposed to read it all, but I'm not sure which parts I can't, so I'm just going to read it. All right. Closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11A3 to consult with an attorney employed or retained by the public body in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege between the attorney and the public body. 4, to discuss matters relating to the location or expansion of industries or other businesses in the area served by the public body, including agreement on a tentative list of economic development incentives that may be offered by the public body in negotiations. 6, to consider the qualifications, competence, performance, character, fitness, conditions of appointment, or conditions of initial employment of an individual public officer or employee or prospective public officer or employee. So, I need a motion to go into closed session.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, Commissioner Vinegar, Commissioner Poindexter second, all in favor? Okay, you all, thank you. We'll be back in a little bit. Motion to go back into open session. Sorry about that. We can edit this.
Motion to go into open.
Second.
Third.
Commissioner Vinegar, Commissioner Shove, all in favor? All right.
Now.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Shove, Poindexter, all in favor. All right. Thank y'all. Good night.